This morning, the Red Cross is sheltering in a dozen Odessa residents who were left without a home after their apartment complex goes up in flames. We'll have the very latest details on that fire.
And a soldier who admitted to planning a terrorist attack on Fort Hood soldiers is facing a federal judge this morning as more charges come to light.
And deadly weather storms into the southeast, leaving 4 dead. We'll tell you what 5 states were hit when we get started on NewsWest 9 Sunrise.
Live in HD from the station that brings you more West Texas news. NewsWest 9 Sunrise starts now.
Good morning. Welcome to NewsWest 9 Sunrise. I'm Victor Lopez.
And I'm Kristen Lowe. Well, it is a very chilly one out there this morning.
Very much so.
Temperatures are only supposed to drop even farther as the morning goes on. Let's send things over to meteorologist Emily Borchard for the very latest. Emily?
Well, good morning, everybody. Last hour, we were right at freezing in Midland, Odessa, and in Big Spring. Some areas already below freezing. We do have freeze warnings up for portions of central and eastern portions of the Permian Basin. That does include Ector, Glasscock, Howard, Mitchell, Midland, and Scurry counties. Again, it's up until 9 a.m. So let's take a look at these brand new temperatures off the top of the hour. I don't think they've quite refreshed just yet, but here they go. 31 now in Midland, so we have fallen 1 degree. It's 30 in Odessa, 28 in Seminole this morning. So the coldest temperatures will be generally north of I-20. That's where a hard freeze is setting up this morning. So definitely want to make sure you bundle up before you head out the door. We'll only see temperatures warming into the 50s this afternoon. By 7 a.m., we should be at 30 degrees by lunchtime, warming up into the upper 40s. We'll see lots of sunshine, so that'll be something to look forward to. But again, temperatures will be cool. We are expecting a warm up for the weekend. We'll take a look at your forecast in detail coming up in just a few minutes. Kristen?
Thanks, Emily. A soldier accused of planning to bomb a restaurant filled with Fort Hood troops will be in federal court today. Nazar Jason Abdo is scheduled to appear in Waco today on 6 new charges, including trying to use a weapon of mass destruction. Abdo has yet to enter any pleas. The AWOL soldier was caught trying to buy weapons at a Fort Hood store. When officials searched his home and backpack, they found weapons of mass destruction. Abdo could be sentenced to life in prison if he's convicted.
Today, the prosecution wraps up its case against a man standing trial for a 3-year-old murder. Now it's up to the defense to argue their case. Testimony began yesterday morning against Willie Hurst. He is one of 4 people charged with killing Robert Thornhill back in 2008. Investigators say Thornhill's throat had been cut, he had been shot with a crossbow, and then his body was dumped in a pasture northwest of Goldsmith and then set on fire. So far, 2 of his accomplices have been sentenced. Kathleen Newberry received 30 years, and Heather Mitchell was served 50 years behind bars.
A Seminole high school student could serve time for lying about a bomb threat on campus. 17-year-old Angel Eduardo Contreras is being charged with making a terroristic threat. Superintendent Doug Harriman says Contreras told a teacher's aide that a bomb was going to go off on campus at 2 Wednesday afternoon. So school officials did a sweep of the campus and lockers and notified authorities about the threat. They were told to evacuate. Bomb-sniffing dogs were brought in from Lubbock to search the campus. Harriman tells us no bomb was ever found. Contreras is being held at the Gaines County Jail. A dozen people are without a home this morning after flames erupted at an Odessa apartment complex. The fire broke out at the Arbor Point apartment complex on Pembroke Street around 4:30 Wednesday afternoon. We're told no one was hurt, but 4 units were damaged. Investigators say the fire started on the first floor and shot up the walls. The Red Cross is helping out 12 tenants who were affected. The cause of the fire is still under investigation.
We're learning more about a huge hotel fire in Port Stockton that left dozens of guests displaced. This was the scene last night at the Swiss Clock Inn, formerly the Best Western. This was Tuesday night, actually, when the hotel went up in flames. We're told the fire started in the attic. The cause is still under investigation, but crews believe it was an electrical fire. Some guests say they heard popping noises coming from the attic just before the flames broke out. In the end, the inn was a total loss. Most guests lost everything.
My kids' pictures, just like memories, you know. You really don't even think pictures are so valuable, but yeah, that's what upsets me the most.
Guests are currently being put up in nearby hotels until further notice. And paperwork to form a new ground conservation district between Reeves and Loving counties has been filed. Petitions have been sent out to residents, and now it's up to them to make the next move. Reeves County Attorney Alva Alvarez says as of yesterday, landowners in both Reeves and Loving received the petitions. 50 signatures are needed before the petition can be sent out to the Texas Natural Resources Conservation Commission. If it's approved, county elections will be held to vote for the creation of the district.
Body scanners are making their way to Midland International Airport. The scanners should be installed sometime next year, but these aren't the controversial scanners you've heard so much about. Only your arms, legs, and torso are clearly visible. Many have argued the scanners pose a health risk, but the TSA says the technology has been tested and is safe for humans.
After having to drive for miles to get to a DPS office, folks in Kermit and Monahans are glad to hear their own offices have reopened after being temporarily shut down. The Kermit office will only be open on Wednesdays from 8:30 a.m. till 4:15 p.m. The Monahans office was closed due to a staffing issue, but reopened Wednesday. This comes as a relief for some, since they were forced to drive up to an hour to get to the nearest DPS office somewhere else.
Texas Tech students looking to work in the health field are getting some hands-on experience thanks to a huge donation. The Wood Family Foundation is giving $1 million to the program. Students will have the chance to work on state-of-the-art computers and life-size dolls. Now, these dolls can simulate anything that can happen in real life, from blinking and breathing to even having a heart attack. University officials say the new center should be ready in just a couple of weeks.
Well, today the City of Midland will host a show of support luncheon, present the keys to the city, and end things with a parade. The City of Midland will be presenting keys to the city at the show of support luncheon today at 11:30 at the CAF hangar. The luncheon honors and pays tribute to our brave servicemen and women. The parade will kick off at the Hilton at 4 o'clock and go west on Wall Street and down all the way to Garfield.
The Big Spring School District is calling on all parents to put their 2 cents in when it comes into finding solutions to help the district. We'll tell you how your voice can also be heard.
And another presidential hopeful is coming under fire. It's not Herman Cain or Rick Perry this time. Stick around for the new developments. But first, here's a look at what area schools are serving for lunch. In Midland, kids will be having pizza, cheese ravioli, broccoli florets with cheese sauce, a garden salad, fruited jello, and garlic French bread.
In Odessa, they're serving up barbecue chicken, grilled ham and cheese, peanut butter and jelly Uncrustables, corn on the cob, sweet potatoes with apples, baby carrots with ranch, sliced peaches, a wheat roll, and a cookie.
Over in Big Spring, the kids will be having Southwest chicken flatbread, a garden salad with ranch, along with corn and applesauce.
Meanwhile, kids in Greenwood will have spaghetti with meat sauce, green beans, garden salad with garlic bread, and chilled fruit. Stay with us.
You're watching News West 9 Sunrise with Kristen Lowe, Victor Lopez, and Storm Tracker 9 meteorologist Emily Borchard.
Welcome back. The time now is 6:09. Recycling containers are starting to overflow in the Tall City. Midland Solid Waste Management said they no longer have the manpower to empty them all of the time. They say the oil field is drawing most of them away, leaving them short-handed. Right now, they're down 7 commercial drivers for their sanitation trucks. That's forcing them to pick and choose how many containers at a time they can or can't empty. Midlanders are warned against leaving things like cardboard boxes around rather than inside those containers. Doing so could cost you.
This illegal dumping, we don't want to fine anybody or anything like that, but it's getting to the point where, you know, we have to do something, because that turns into litter. It blows all over the neighborhood.
If you have your commercial driver's license and would like to apply, head on over to newswest9.com and click on news links.
Well, Big Spring ISD is getting a bad rap after some bad test scores. Now the school board is trying to change that. As Anayeli Ruiz tells you, they're starting a committee to keep parents in the loop.
What started it all was the low tax scores, right? And so there's a lot of concerned citizens in the community about the unacceptable status of the school.
Residents in Big Spring wanted to know what the schools were going to do about the bad test scores. And the school board wanted to make sure their concerns were heard.
It seemed like we was having a little bit of difficulty communicating with the community about the issues going on at the school, because the board meeting kind of restricts us to what's on the agenda.
That's why the Big Spring school president decided to start a community panel. In this panel, they invite everyone to voice their opinion or their concerns with the school.
Because we ultimately want to be transparent. We want the community to know that, we'll share any information they want to know. That's our job.
Well, so far they've had 2 meetings. The topics discussed have been test scores, bullying, and C-scope. But the board says they need leaders to step up and form a committee for those meetings.
You know, we've had some people volunteer to be on that committee, and we'd like to have some more volunteers. So we hope to at least be closer to having that committee put together before the next meeting.
That was Anayeli Ruiz reporting. The newly formed panel plans to meet sometime in January.
Ector County is also forming a new committee. This one's to focus on the district's unprecedented growth. Thanks to the oil boom in the basin, the district is seeing a tremendous growth in some areas of the city. That growth has really shown itself in student enrollment numbers, which have created some problems, though, like keeping good student-to-teacher ratios. The committee will evaluate how ECISD can address those issues. They will present their findings at the school board at a later time. District officials say sometimes those findings can lead to bond elections.
Well, staying in Ector County, the school district will host its 3rd annual robotics tournament today. And yes, we are talking a full-on robot showdown. Now, their robots must perform a specific task for this competition. They are all built and designed by ECISD students. Now, to catch the show, just go over to the multipurpose room in the Mesa building at UTPB. It'll kick off at 8 o'clock this morning and go until 5 this afternoon.
Also today, join the Petroleum Museum and dig for dinosaurs. The family fun event will be from 6:30 to 8 p.m. Kids will get the chance to make their own dinosaur eggs and Tyrannosaurus Rex claws. The museum will provide cookies and lemonade. Admission is free.
Well, Shakespeare fans won't want to miss the next show put on by the Lee High School Drama Department. Shakespeare's The Tempest will perform at the Lee High School Auditorium beginning at 7:30 tonight. Tickets go for $5 for adults and $3 for students.
Well, good morning, everybody. It is very cold as we are starting our Thursday. Remember, we had a cold front move through, and that's setting up for some very cold temperatures. Some of the coldest temperatures, in fact, of the work week are happening right now. We're currently at 31 degrees out at Midland International. Humidity is at 58%. Winds this morning are light, sustained out of the northeast, only at 7 miles per hour. So last hour we were right at freezing in Midland, Big Spring, and in Odessa. Temperatures have fallen now a few degrees in some spots. It's 30 in Odessa now, still at freezing in Big Spring. 28 in Seminole, 29 in Snyder, and the rest of the viewing area also seeing temperatures in the 30s now, below freezing in Alpine, sitting at 28 degrees. We do have a freeze warning up. That's where we're seeing some of the coldest temperatures, generally north of I-20. Freeze warning is up until the mid-morning hours. It expires at 9 a.m., so we'll continue to see these very cold temperatures for the next several hours. High pressure sits off to our north. This will help warm us up by tomorrow, and through the weekend we'll be in the 70s, but today we'll only warm into the upper 50s and low 60s. Look for high today near 59 in Midland, near 58 expected in Odessa. Winds will be shifting back out of the south, and coming up in just a few minutes we'll take a look at your bus stop forecast and get you ready for your school day. Kristen, Victor.
Thanks a lot, Emily. Coming up after the break, the details on the latest scandal to hit the GOP presidential race. You may be surprised to find out who's in trouble this time.
And, of course, we will have the very latest in the Penn State sex abuse scandal. One of the victim's mothers makes an alarming statement. We'll hear from her next. Welcome back to NewsWest 9 Sunrise. The time is now 6:17. A strong storm system that produced several possible tornadoes has killed at least 4 people across the southeast. In South Carolina, 3 people were killed and 5 were injured Wednesday when an apparent tornado swept through a rural community near Rock Hill, about 20 miles south of Charlotte in North Georgia. In North Georgia, a person was killed when a tree fell on a sport utility vehicle. Suspected tornadoes were also reported in Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. Thousands of people were left without power.
Presidential candidate Newt Gingrich is under scrutiny over his recent rise in the polls. Today, questions are rising about how he earned around $1.5 million from Freddie Mac in the years leading up to the nation's housing crisis. We get the latest from NBC's Tracy Potts live on Capitol Hill this morning.
Hello. How are you this morning? Newt Gingrich says he doesn't remember how much he earned consulting for Freddie Mac. It's believed to be between $1.6 and $1.8 million over 8 years.
To now find out that Newt Gingrich was on the payroll at Freddie Mac in the run-up to the housing collapse, that's going to turn a bunch of Republican voters off.
Gingrich argues it may actually boost his popularity with voters.
We just tried 4 years of amateur ignorance, and it didn't work very well. So having somebody who actually knows Washington might be a really good thing.
His campaign says Gingrich never lobbied for Freddie Mac, but critics and opponents argue he may have influenced policy.
The point is that he took money to also influence senior Republicans to be favorable toward Fannie and Freddie.
The very things that anger the Tea Party movement and the Occupy Wall Street movement and everybody who's not in a movement and watches Washington and says, why are these guys getting all this money?
Gingrich survived reports of his big debt with Tiffany's. Now he's facing questions of whether he profited from America's housing crisis.
Wait till I see Linda Eltmeyer.
Inside sources tell the Associated Press that Gingrich may have helped the agency identify friendly faces here on Capitol Hill. Tracy Potts, NBC News, Washington.
Close to 100 protesters were arrested after storming into a downtown San Francisco bank, shouting slogans and trying to set up shop in the bank's lobby. Police say they made 95 arrests Wednesday afternoon. The arrests came after about 100 demonstrators rushed into a Bank of America branch Wednesday afternoon, chanting money for schools and education, not for banks and corporations. 95 were arrested, ticketed, and then released. And the FBI says they are closing in on one of their most wanted terrorists. This morning, they're focusing their attention on western Massachusetts. The FBI describes Daniel Andreas San Diego as an animal rights extremist wanted in the 2003 bombings of 2 corporate offices in Northern California. After a recent tip from America's Most Wanted, they have reason to believe he may be in the Northampton area.
The mother of alleged victim 1 is opening up about what happened after her son was allegedly sexually assaulted by Jerry Sandusky.
Somewhat rural setting.
We consider him to be armed and dangerous, and the public should treat him as such.
The FBI describes Daniel Andreas San Diego as an animal rights.
We do apologize for that. We'll try to get you that sound later. But the school did put out this statement. Quote, due to the ongoing nature of the investigation, it would be inappropriate for the Keystone Central School District to provide any comment in this regard at this time. End quote. Now, nonetheless, the Keystone Central School District has been and will continue to be fully cooperative with authorities in this matter. End quote there. That's what I meant to say. Well, eBay unveils their latest innovation, and it's for a good cause. Celebrities left and right are joining in, and now you can too. We'll tell you all about it.
And it's all about Androids. Their sales are soaring here and worldwide. Stay with us for your consumer news still ahead.
Welcome back to NewsWest 9 Sunrise. We're back at 6:23. I'm Storm Tracker 9 meteorologist Emily Borchard. It is cold this morning. We are seeing some of the coldest temperatures setting up of the entire work week, but there's some good news in the forecast. If this is too cold for you, we'll be warmer by tomorrow and into the weekend. Temperatures should be warming into the 70s, but this morning it's very cold, below freezing now in Midland at 31 degrees. It's 30 in Odessa and in Wink, 33 in Pecos, just at freezing in Big Spring. Some of the coldest temperatures are north of I-20 this morning, and we do have a freeze warning up for central and eastern portions of the Permian Basin through the mid-morning hours. It expires at 9 a.m. this morning, so temperatures still could be at or below freezing through the 9 a.m. hour. Definitely want to make sure you are bundled up before you head out the door this morning. We're seeing clear skies on our satellite and radar composite and pretty light winds, and that's why we're seeing this drop in the temperatures by 7 a.m. Definitely make sure you send the kids out the door with a jacket. We are expecting temperatures still in the low 30s, near 30 degrees in Midland. Winds will be light out of the northeast. By 3 o'clock, we warm up a little bit into the mid-50s. It'll still be a pretty cool afternoon. Sunrise this morning is just after 7 a.m. at 7:19. And coming up in just a few minutes, we'll take a look at your day planner, and I'll get you all set up for your Thursday. Victor?
Thanks, Emily. Well, eBay has launched a new destination called eBay Celebrity. That tops our look at consumer news this hour. Now, it allows consumers to buy unique gifts and contribute to a celebrity's charity. Things like a red dress worn by Katy Perry, with all the proceeds from this sale going to the American Red Cross. Brad Pitt is also offering a private meet and greet moment supporting the Making It Right Foundation. Consumers can also sell their own goods to support their own causes. And there's a new service from Living Social. Kiosks have appeared in Charlotte, Austin, and Denver that offer complete restaurant, spa, or travel experiences in a box. Each box contains offers from merchants in a specific category and allows customers to choose their favorite one to redeem, meaning each gift box is redeemable for one experience. The boxes are also available online in several other cities. And a study by the research firm Gartner finds smartphones running on Google's Android software accounted for more than half of all smartphone sales in the third quarter. Now that's up 25% from a year ago. Research in Motion's BlackBerry devices have 11%. Now the study also found smartphone sales worldwide increased 42% in the third quarter to 115 million phones. More than 60 million of those phones were Android devices. Well, coming up next, Kristen will have your health news when we come back. Now, you wouldn't necessarily think drug-laced lollipops when you think military, but it is their latest tool to combat battle wound pain. Still, some are concerned they're sending the wrong message. And later on this hour, we'll have the latest details on an investigation in Texas after the body of an 18-year-old girl is found just days after she's gone missing. Stay with us.
We're back at 6:28 this Thursday morning. Welcome back to NewsWest 9 Sunrise. I'm Storm Tracker 9 meteorologist Emily Borchard. It is very cold this morning, one of the coldest mornings before the work week is setting up. Right now, we're seeing a temperature at 31 degrees out at Midland International. Now, a degree below freezing. We're under nice clear skies. Humidity is at 58%, so a little drier this morning. And winds are out of the northeast, very light, sustained only at 7 miles per hour. It's just at freezing in Big Springs, currently 32 degrees there, 30 below freezing in Odessa and in Wink, 29 in Seminole. Some of the coldest temperatures are north of I-20 this morning, but all of us in the entire viewing area, we're all sitting in the upper 20s or low 30s, so it's very cold, and we do have freeze warnings up for eastern and central portions of the Permian Basin until 9 a.m. this morning. That does include Midland and Ector counties, so definitely want to make sure you stay bundled up as temperatures could be below freezing for the next several hours. We're seeing light winds out there, generally out of the north-northeast. Winds will begin to shift back out of the south heading into the afternoon, allowing for just a little bit more moisture to come back into the forecast. That will also help warm us up into the 70s for tomorrow. So again, we're seeing some of the coldest temperatures this morning right under a dome of high pressure. It's colder up towards the panhandle with temperatures in the 20s. We're sitting with freezing temperatures here across West Texas. Here's a look at what you can expect in detail heading into the rest of the day by 7 a.m. So very cold outside, sitting near 30 degrees by lunchtime, warming in the upper 40s. We'll make it up into the upper 50s and low 60s today. Coming up in just a few minutes, we'll take another look at your bus stop forecast and get you ready for the school day. Kristen?
Everyone in the courtroom was...
Thanks a lot, Emily. We do have a recall to tell you about this morning. Smucker Company is recalling some of its 16-ounce jars of its Smucker's Natural Peanut Butter Chunky Style, because of possible salmonella contamination. The company says the jars covered in the recall would have been purchased in the last week or so. They have best if used by dates of August 3rd, 2012 and August 4th, 2012. Smucker's says no illnesses have been reported yet. Military personnel have a new tool for treating pain. Get this, drug-laced lollipops. Reporter Melanie Woodrow spoke with one doctor about how professionals are making sure these lollipops don't get into the wrong hands.
The fentanyl lollipop is such a strong drug, it had to be signed out, and this pharmacist could not take the lollipop out of the box to show us.
It's much more rapid in onset, so it gives them pain relief a lot quicker, as opposed to the 15 to 20 minutes is needed for a morphine injector.
Lieutenant Commander Ian Fowler is a pain medicine doctor at Naval Medical Center Portsmouth. He has seen the fentanyl lollipop, which looks like this one, used in Afghanistan.
Out in the field, it's certainly more easily administered than the traditional morphine morphine injector, which requires injection into a muscle.
He's also prescribed it to cancer patients here stateside.
For cancer pain patients in particular, this is advantageous because sometimes they can't swallow pills.
Within 5 minutes, the pain medication is absorbed into the bloodstream, a rapid treatment that can also be rapidly stopped.
It can come out when they begin to get pain relief as opposed to the morphine which stays in the muscle.
Lieutenant Commander Fowler understands the concerns some might have with the drug.
I try to dissociate that name lollipop with the drug. It doesn't look like a lollipop, and it certainly shouldn't be confused as any sort of candy.
A warning on the back of the box alerts adults to keep the drug lollipop out of children's reach.
We counsel patients, the pharmacists counsel patients on keeping this medication completely out of sight of children or people who might think or misinterpret it as candy.
That was Melanie Woodrow reporting. Stick around, your Texas headlines are still ahead. Authorities find the body of a missing 18-year-old, but the investigation is nowhere near an end. A lawyer who helped put an innocent man behind bars is sending his apologies. He says the system is to blame, not him. Welcome back to NewsWest 9 Sunrise. The time now is 6:35. Argentine officials snag a loaded gunman just minutes away from boarding a flight to Houston. Officials aren't releasing many details at this time, but here's what we do know. The suspect, who was carrying a gun, ammunition, and pepper spray, was trying to board a plane out of Buenos Aires to board a flight to Houston when he was spotted by police. The unidentified man was arrested on the scene. Right now, he is being investigated by a federal judge. A U.S. spokesperson has said the embassy is aware of the incident but cannot comment right now due to privacy laws.
Authorities in Williamson County are one step closer to solving a missing persons case. Earlier this week, they found the body of missing 18-year-old Tanisha Brown. Now they are trying to determine who killed her and why. She was last seen Friday at her home in Bedford, west of Dallas. Investigators say Brown was not alone when she left home, but her traveling companions are not considered suspects at this time.
A former prosecutor is apologizing after putting an innocent Texas man behind bars. Michael Morton spent 25 years of his life in prison after being found guilty of murdering his wife. But 25 years later, DNA evidence proved his innocence. Former District Attorney Ken Anderson says he does not believe he acted improperly, but he is sorry on behalf of the system that failed him. Morton's attorney says Anderson concealed key evidence from the defense that could have changed the outcome originally.
Well, the Texas Department of Transportation wants to make sure you don't drink and drive come game day, and they're rolling out all the stops. We'll also have the highlights of the Red Raider basketball team and more on the Texas Tech Red Raider football team. On your morning sports wrap-up. Your morning sports wrap-up is next.
Well, good Thursday morning, everybody. Welcome back to NewsWest 9 Sunrise. We're back at 6:39. I'm Storm Tracker 9 meteorologist Emily Borchard. Get ready for a very cold morning. If you haven't headed out the door this morning, temperatures are at or below freezing in most spots. We do have a freeze warning up for central and eastern portions of the Permian Basin until 9 a.m. this morning, so it expires through the mid-morning hours. Temperatures could still be at or below freezing until 9. It does include Midland and Ector counties. Let's take a look at temperatures outside. We're seeing the coldest setup generally north of I-20 this morning, below freezing now in Midland at 31 degrees, 30 in Odessa, right at freezing in Big Spring, 28 in Seminole, 30 in Wink, 32 right at freezing now in Fort Stockton, below freezing in Alpine, sitting at 28 degrees. So it's very cold. Definitely want to make sure you head out the door with some layers. It is going to be a cool afternoon as well. High pressure is sitting off to our north, and that will set up a much warmer Friday and weekend forecast. We'll take a look at that in just a few minutes with your Storm Tracker 9 future tracker and get you all set up for the weekend. But today, as you're getting ready to send your little ones out the door, definitely make sure they leave with a jacket. By 7 a.m., we'll see nice clear skies near 30 degrees by 3 o'clock as the school day is wrapping up. Temperatures will only be warming into the mid-50s. So again, coming up in just a few minutes, we'll take a look at your full forecast. Kristen, Victor?
Thanks, Emily. Well, game day drinking is a football fan tradition, but...
I think it's a football fan tradition.
Actually, I think so. But TxDOT wants to make sure you don't get behind the wheel when you're done doing it.
The Know When to Pass truck, has been touring all over Texas. Yesterday, it made an appearance at Odessa College. The truck features a living room scene and cutouts of football players asking for your keys. The message is to pass your keys to a sober driver if you're drinking on game day.
And the Texas Tech Red Raiders are trying to extend their bowl streak, while the Red Raider basketball team was in action last night.
Sports Director Trevor Tankersley has those stories for you in your morning sports wrap-up.
And a good morning, everyone. We'll start with college football. The Texas Tech Red Raiders are looking to keep the longest active Big 12 bowl-eligible streak alive as they visit Missouri on Saturday afternoon. Red Raiders are now 5-5 on the season after their home loss to Oklahoma State over the weekend. You need at least 6 wins to become bowl-eligible, which isn't a given for Tech as they visit Missouri this week before finishing off the regular season with a date against explosive Baylor in Dallas the next weekend. Red Raiders have been bowl eligible for the last 18 seasons, the longest current streak in the Big 12. Coach Tommy Tuberville says that's a big goal for his team this weekend at Mizzou.
I think there's 4 or 5 of us that have 5 wins, and so we're all, and a lot of us play each other, so there's going to be a lot of good competition. There's something to play for, and I think it gives all your players, especially your seniors, something to motivate the other guys. Say, listen, this is our last year. We want to go to a bowl game, so let's everybody pick it up and help us get there.
And Tech will try to get that bowl eligibility this Saturday when they travel to Columbia to take on Missouri. And in Tech hoops, last night, the second game of the Billy Gillespie era, Red Raiders pull out the win over North Texas last night, 69-64 to improve to 2-0 in the season. Tech will return to their home court on Sunday when they host Stephen F. Austin. And that's your morning sports wrap-up. I'm Trevor Tankersley.
Thanks, Trevor. Fire officials in Odessa are changing gears when it comes to leads in a fire investigation. We'll tell you what they now think may have caused the blaze.
And more on another fire that sparked up in an Odessa apartment. But first, here's a look at what area schools are serving for lunch today.
Kids in Midland will be having pizza or cheese ravioli, broccoli florets with cheese sauce, a garden salad, fruited jello, and garlic French bread.
And in Odessa, it's smorgasbord day. They're serving up barbecue chicken, grilled ham and cheese, peanut butter and jelly Uncrustables, corn on the cob, sweet potatoes with apples, baby carrots with ranch, sliced peaches, a wheat roll, and a cookie.
That sounds like an all-you-can-eat over there. In Big Spring, they'll be having Southwest chicken flatbread, garden salad with ranch dressing, along with corn and applesauce.
Meanwhile, kids in Greenwood will have spaghetti with meat sauce, green beans, garden salad with garlic bread, and chilled fruit. Stay with us.
Good Thursday morning, everybody. We're back at 6:46. You're watching NewsWest 9 Sunrise. It is very cold this morning. We had a cold front move through yesterday, setting up some of the coldest temperatures this morning. We're at below freezing now in Midland, sitting at 31 degrees under nice clear skies. Humidity is at 58%, so it's a little drier this morning, and winds are very light, sustained out of the northeast, only at 7 miles per hour. So we do have some freeze warnings up for portions of central and eastern portions of the Permian Basin. So temperatures are coldest generally north of I-20 this morning. It's well below freezing in Seminole, currently at 28 degrees, 30 in Odessa, right at freezing in Big Spring this morning at 32 degrees, 32 also in Fort Stockton, 28, very cold down in Alpine. Now keep in mind the temperatures that you just saw will continue to fall a few more degrees over the next several hours. And we do have freeze warnings up until 9 a.m., so the mid-morning hours is when that will expire. So it will be very cold even through 9 a.m. Definitely want to make sure you're bundled up before you head out the door this morning. We have clear skies and light winds out of the north-northwest. This will look at our satellite radar composite from the past 6 hours. You'll notice it's looping. There's not a whole lot going on. That's because high pressure is beginning to take control of our forecast area. We're seeing some of the coldest temperatures setting up right under that dome of high pressure, which sits off to our north. Take a look at Amarillo right now, 21 degrees, 23 in Lubbock. Again, some of the coldest temperatures across West Texas and the Panhandle. It's cold all across the board, though, with temperatures in the 40s and 50s, even down into South Texas. So I mentioned a warming pattern, a warming trend happening tomorrow. Today, though, it's still going to be cool throughout the afternoon with temperatures only warming into the upper 50s and low 60s. We're going to do something a little different with our future tracker. We're going to start it this evening and loop it into our Friday. This is something you'll get excited about, our Friday forecast, right? We're going to see a little bit more cloud cover. Temperatures will be about 20 degrees warmer for our Friday, warming into the 70s. Cloud cover stays around as we head into the weekend. Winds will also be on the increase ahead of our next storm system, which will bring some rain chances as we head into Monday. But for today, again, look for another cool afternoon with temperatures struggling to get out of the 60s. Tomorrow, much warmer with temperatures in the 70s. We're not looking for quite as a cool start to our Friday morning. Temperatures will fall into the 40s tomorrow morning. But again, for the weekend, as we get ready to start the weekend, we'll see a little bit more cloud cover, warmer temperatures, and winds will be on the increase beginning tomorrow. We're going to take a quick break, but here's a look at what's coming up on the Today Show.
Good morning. Coming up on a Thursday here on Today, a line of severe weather spawns tornadoes across the southeast. At least 4 people are dead. We're going to be live with the latest on that. Also ahead, did he go to police or not? Authorities disputing a claim from the Penn State coach who says he went to police after witnessing Jerry Sandusky sexually abuse a boy in a shower. This as Sandusky's attorney defends his decision to let his client speak out. We'll have the details on that. Plus, the paternity suit was dropped, but the case against Justin Bieber may not be over. We'll hear from his accuser's new attorney, and we'll check out the personal items of Marilyn Monroe going up for auction, including never-before-seen images from the set of Some Like It Hot, when we get started on a Thursday morning right here on Today.
Welcome back to NewsWest 9 Sunrise. The time now is 6:51. A strong storm system that produced several possible tornadoes has killed at least 4 people across the southeast. That tops your headline news this Thursday morning. 3 were killed in South Carolina Wednesday after an apparent tornado swept through a rural community about 20 miles south of Charlotte. In North Georgia, a person was killed when a tree fell on an SUV. Thousands were without power in Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama, where suspected tornadoes also swept through.
The FBI says they are zeroing in on one of their most wanted terrorists. Daniel Andreas Sandiego, who's described as an animal rights extremist, is wanted in the 2003 bombings of 2 corporate offices in Northern California. The case had turned cold until his story was aired on America's Most Wanted. Tips have led the FBI to believe Sandiego may be in the Northampton area in western Massachusetts.
An AWOL soldier who is accused of planning an attack against Fort Hood soldiers will appear before a federal judge today in Waco. Nazir Justin Abdo is facing 6 new charges, including trying to use a weapon of mass destruction. When officials searched his home and backpack, they found various weapons. Abdo later admitted to planning an attack, but he has yet to enter any pleas. He could face up to life in prison.
If you live in Midland and have travel plans for the next year, you'll have to submit to a body scan if you plan on flying. The Midland International Airport will roll out the body scanners sometime next year, but don't worry, these aren't the controversial scanners you've heard so much about. We're told they do not show you completely naked. Instead, only your arms, legs, and torso are clearly visible. Many have argued the scanners pose a health risk, but the TSA says the technology has been tested and found to be safe for humans.
A petition to form a groundwater conservation district between 2 local counties has been sent out to residents, and now it's one step closer to making it on the ballot. Here's what needs to happen if Reeves and Loving residents want to see the petition on the ballot for their county elections. The petition requires 50 signatures before it can make it to the Texas Natural Resources Commission for approval. The petitions were sent out yesterday in both counties. If the commission approves the petition, it will go up for a vote in the upcoming county elections.
ECISD is creating a committee that will focus on the district's growth. The oil boom in the basin has brought the district tremendous growth in numbers. Now the school has to find ways to address the issues that come with such a rise in numbers. Officials say the committee's job will be finding new and innovative ways of addressing some of these new issues. The school board will listen in on their findings at a later date. District officials say sometimes those findings can often lead to bond elections.
The Big Spring School District is turning to parents after some not-so-flattering test scores. The school board president has formed a panel made up of Big Spring residents. The community panel will meet with school district officials several times a year to discuss problems or concerns. The issues discussed will then be presented to school board meetings so that nothing is swept under the rug. So far, the group has addressed bullying, bad test scores, and the curriculum. The Big Spring Independent School District is urging more residents to come forward and join the group.
Seminole High School is recovering after a bomb threat on campus. Now one of their own students could be serving time for making the whole thing up. 17-year-old Angel Eduardo Contreras is being charged with making a terroristic threat. Superintendent Doug Harriman says yesterday Contreras told a teacher's aide a bomb was going to go off on campus. School officials did a sweep of the campus and lockers and notified authorities about the threat, while students and staff evacuated the building. However, a bomb was not found. Contreras is now being held at the Gaines County Jail.
The prosecution for a man charged with murdering another man and setting his body on fire will rest their case today. Testimony began yesterday against Willie Hurst. District Attorney Bobby Bland says the prosecution will rest its case today and the defense will present their case. Hurst is one of 4 people charged with killing Robert Thornhill back in 2008. Investigators say Thornhill slit the victim's throat. He had been shot with a crossbow and his body was dumped in a pasture just northwest of Goldsmith after it was set on fire.
Well, officials are still investigating what caused a huge hotel fire in Port Stockton. It turns out an electrical issue may be to blame and not a short in welding equipment like originally suspected. Now, this was the scene at the Swiss Clock Inn, formerly the Best Western, Tuesday night. Fire officials believe it was an electrical fire after guests reported hearing popping sounds coming from the attic just minutes before the flames broke out. Still, an official cause has not been determined. In the end, the hotel was a total loss. Guests say they've lost memories which cannot be replaced.
My kids' pictures, just like memories, you know. You really don't even think pictures are so valuable, but yeah, that's what upsets me the most.
Guests are currently being put up in nearby hotels until further notice.
Meanwhile, the Red Cross is stepping in to help a dozen Odessa residents also devastated by a fire. Fire broke out at the Arbor Point apartment complex on Pembroke Street around 4:30 Wednesday afternoon. 4 units were damaged. Investigators say the fire started on the first floor and shot up the walls. No one was hurt, but 12 tenants are now under the care of the Red Cross. The cause of that blaze is still under investigation.
Look at Thursday morning, everybody. Is cold as we start our day. Temperatures in most locations are at or below freezing. We had a cold front come through yesterday, setting up one of the coldest mornings, that's today, of the entire work week. We will start a warming trend tomorrow, so that's something to look forward to. We'll take a look at temperatures. Out at Midland International, below freezing now at 31 degrees. Under clear skies, it is a little drier outside this morning. Humidity is sitting close to about 58%. And winds are sustained out of the northeast at 7 miles per hour. It's also below freezing in Odessa and Wink, sitting at 30 degrees, right at freezing this morning in Big Spring, 28 up towards Seminole. Some of the coldest temperatures are north of I-20 this morning, but the entire viewing area is seeing these very cold temperatures either in the upper 20s or low 30s. 28 this morning in Alpine, very cold there. We do have freeze warnings up for the central and eastern half of the Permian Basin until the mid-morning hours. It expires at 9 a.m., so we could still be at freezing until 9 a.m. this morning. That's something to consider as you're getting ready to head out the door. Definitely want to make sure you put a jacket on, as it is very cold. We have winds that are pretty light out there, generally out of the north-northeast, and we have clear skies. We're looping our satellite and radar composite, but you don't see a whole lot going on across the entire Lone Star State. High pressure sits off to the north, and under that dome of high pressure, that's where the coldest temperatures are this morning, up towards the Panhandle. That high pressure system will build into the area over the next couple of days and set up a warming trend, and we'll see warmer temperatures by tomorrow. But for today, it'll still be very chilly by 10 a.m. near 35 degrees, so just a few degrees above freezing still in the mid-morning hours. By 2 o'clock, we'll see lots of sunshine. Temperatures, though, won't reflect the sunshine. They'll be kind of chilly still, only in the low 50s. By 6 o'clock, sun goes down. Temperatures will be falling into the mid-60s. We'll make it up into the upper 50s and low 60s this afternoon. And if 59 is just too cold for you by tomorrow, we'll be about 20 degrees warmer, warming into the 70s. Winds pick up through the weekend. We're also going to introduce more cloud cover by Sunday, and rain chances are back in the forecast as we start our next work week.
Everyone bundle up out there this morning, but the good news is tomorrow will be nice.
Definitely cold today, but much warmer tomorrow.
Yeah, as much as I like the cold temperatures, it'll be nice to see those 70s on the weekend.
Yeah, it won't last very long.
Oh, okay. Thanks for the warning.
Enjoy it while it lasts.
Exactly.
Well, that's all the time we have this morning for NewsWest 9 Sunrise, but you can join us for updates during the Today Show starting at 7:25.
And for all your local news, be sure to tune in to NewsWest 9 First News at 4 or log on to NewsWest9.com.
We'll see you back here tomorrow morning. Make it a great day.